So this is a follow-up to the bearing replacement sleeve, and this is it here. JP made it this afternoon and he brought it to me because I've got the bolts as a guide bolt to push this in. Now it does fit, but that's generally what it looks like. So we took that thickness off the bottom of the casing, and then the bolts holding the pump on will hold that tight, but also it'll keep it square so that can't move around anymore. So what I'm going to do is find my little guide bolts. Should be in here. There's our guide. I'm just going to make sure that that piece of steel is going to be... JP gave me this piece of rough steel that he had kicking about, and we're going to put some green Loctite on there, the thread, not the sleeve retainer, just in case. And then I'm going to press that in with the press, and we're going to take it back tomorrow, and he's going to remachine this out for the bearing, because he wants to make sure it's a good fit for the bearing. We don't want it all sloppy. So let me get that done. Yeah, back again. This morning I went to see if JP had finished my bushings, and we were talking about these selector forks. Ashcroft state that it should be no less than 7mm here. So I was just asking JP, what the hell are these made of? So we did a few scratchy tests, because we come up with the conclusion they're aluminium bronze. They're not brass, they're not bronze, they're aluminium bronze. Now, knowing what they are, where's that one? I went across to a welding shop opposite JP, because he's on a little industrial estate. So go and see Max, he'll be able to help you. Because we were discussing whether we could build these up again and use them again, build them up to spec, because there's nothing really wrong with them. It's just that they go out of spec. And so I chatted to Max and he says, yeah, let's have a go. He says, have you got a scrap one? I says, I've got one here. Here's a scrap one. And you can see how worn it's got here. It's even eaten into that little boss. It should be a little boss like here. Alright? So he said, bring one down, we'll have a go. You know, and we'll have a go and see if we can weld it up. Because he says, we've got some good lads here who are good at welding. They like a challenge. And he says, what? And JP said, well, if you can weld it up, weld a bigger pad here, and a bigger pad here, and a bigger pad here, you know, bring it down to about here. Because what we come to the conclusion was, when you're changing gear, what happened there? When you're changing gear, these are liable to tip a little bit. So, just to show you a demonstration, here's a synchro ring, yeah, synchro hub. Now this one is especially worn. You can see here how worn it is. So if we put that onto there, you can see now what's happening. See what I mean? Because when we measured it here, there was about 0.5 millimeter difference, well, 0.4 millimeters difference here to here. It was in a taper, and we come to the conclusion it was doing that because it was tipping, or maybe not the shaft tipping, but maybe this synchro hub was tipping. Anyway, it's not good. So I've got a few old ones here. This is off an old, I think this is off an old LT77, but you can see the thickness of that compared to the thickness of that. It's, you know, it's really worn out. And funny enough, I can't remember too much about LT77s. I've never driven one for a long time, but I can't remember them having a bad second gear. It was all R380s. So if this works, it might be quite nice, and it saves buying one, you know, because we can make it custom then. Nice, isn't it? So that's the story on that. He's machined out the casings for the bushings. That's done. He's just got to finish off the pins and things. I've got to go down and take some pins down, and that's about it. So I thought I'd give you a little heads up before we, you know, machine this, because guy said, he said, well, if you've got nothing to lose, I mean, if it will weld, it's only going to be a cheap job. And I don't know if he's got some, I don't know if he's got some rods, or he's going to cut some of this up and use it as a rod to fill those in. I don't know, but obviously they're better welders than me, and you know, I'll just melt it. Right, see you in a bit. Right, this is later on in the afternoon. It's 10 to 4. Our day drags on, eh? So I just got back from JP's. He's done the bush in this transfer case here. He's working on 2 more today. This is from the Vancouver one. It's not Bill's. I got a bit mistaken. But anyway, he's made a bush for that, and he's remachined the head down here. And that is a nice fit in there. He's allowed to put the O-ring in, so it's going to be a nice tappity tap type fit, so that's good. On this case in here, this is one where the bearing we made that top hat bush for, and it's in there. And there it is there, it's all nice and flush, everything's nice. He did the lightest of face cuts across here, remachined this bit out where some manics had been round it with a bloody great hammer, putting the bearing in the seal, so that's going to be a nice tight fit for the seal. Now, one thing I noticed when I was getting this was out the TD5 that exploded, and I thought we'd just have a bit of a play around, see how far we can resurrect things. And when I put it through the bead blaster, I noticed there was a bit of a mark here. You see it? Well, that's where the shaft came through the casing. I'm just going to repair that with a bit of JB weld. I'm going to die grind it out, but that is another day's job. God, I'm running out of place where to put things now. That's on the back burner, because what we're going to try and do with that exploded TD5 box is maybe make it into a 300 TDI box, because I found a lay shaft on my shelf, and I'm not sure whether to turn it into a TD5 box, which is a slow seller, or a 300 TDI box, but it won't be expensive anyway, so, but I mean, it's cost me a bit to repair, but the rest of the bits seem to be okay. But